Hey there, Amanda here, and welcome back to another episode of the Unbottled Potential podcast. If you're new here, this podcast is all about breaking up with alcohol so that you can break through to your best life. So we cover a variety of personal and spiritual growth topics on this show. And over the past couple of weeks, I've really been reflecting on my own personal growth journey. I really doubled down on making some investments in my business and in my personal life into mentors and programs and resources to help support me. And I thought back about all of the times that I invested in it really, invested my time and my energy and my money, and it really paid off. The times where it kind of missed the mark, or I invested in something that I didn't really need, or the times that I wanted so badly to make an investment, but I could not find the thing that matched my desire and my need. And so I was trying to reflect, what are the resources that I really wish that I would have had when I first started out on my sober curious journey, probably 10 years ago. I've been alcohol free for 6 years, but I was sober curious at least 2 years before that. And I was on a personal development journey a few years before that. So I want to give you a little background into what that journey looked like. And then I want to kick off and share with you the resources that I wish that I would have had, or the resources that I've cobbled together and that I now share with my students and my clients, because I feel like these are the ones that really, really move the needle the most and help you with accountability, help you with motivation, help you see past blind spots and navigate over stumbling blocks. And I've come up with four. And before I kick into those four resources that I wish that I would have had when I started my alcohol-free journey, I want to remind you a little bit about what the landscape looked like at the time, because this was back in 2015, 2017 kind of time. And really, the resources that were available were still very, very much focused on addiction and recovery. And bless, we absolutely need those resources. They are so important. They are saving people's lives and transforming entire family lineages. They are so, so, so important. And I had seen addiction up close and personal in my life, and I knew that my experience wasn't that. Even though addiction is a spectrum, of course, there are different levels of it. I didn't identify with the language of addiction and recovery. And so looking at those resources that required an admission of powerlessness over alcohol didn't feel right, because I knew that I could stop drinking. I just felt squeamish about it because I was fed all of these other stories about how much I needed alcohol to have a social life, or how much I deserved alcohol to, soothe my troubled emotions or cool down after a long, hard day or week at work. And so I knew that I could quit. I just had these fear-based stories in my mind about who I would be and what a loser and outcast I would be if I did that, and how incapable I would be to cope with things if I didn't have alcohol as an emotional crutch. And so it wasn't so much the action of quitting, it was the mindset that really held me back. And I did not feel congruent going into these recovery focused spaces, because I felt kind of like an imposter, like an asshole, really, because I knew that it wasn't going to be the same struggle, the same journey, because I hadn't had some of these rock bottom moments. And again, I know it's a spectrum, but from what I had observed up close with personal experience with addiction, and what I was seeing when I looked at these resources, I was just like, man, that is not for me. And so at the time that I was sober curious, again, right around 2015 or so, there were some amazing alternative resources. Holly Whitaker and Laura McCowan, who are both powerhouses in this space, had both were teaching in their own kind of space. And Annie Grace was starting to become popular in this area. And Ruby Warrington was just starting to kind of prime the pump with Sober Curious. But none of these resources were super available to me. And it just, none of them jived, basically. And so I was really struggling in the early parts of my Sober Curious journey to find resources that resonated with me, that encouraged me. And I'll go ahead and kick into the resources that I was looking for, because number one was a mentor. I knew I didn't need a sponsor or a recovery program, but damn, I so badly wanted a mentor. I would have paid money to find I'd hate to use the word guru, but even just someone who was inspiring, who could, in one of the past episodes, I talked about expanders, who could expand my visual possibility into a new reality. So I could see to believe that it was possible for me, a social casual drinker, to quit alcohol and still have a vibrant life. And I couldn't find that. I can vividly remember sitting in my old apartment, Googling these different, words and categories and things and trying to find people who I could just even reach out to be my friends. And I came up pretty short. There weren't a ton of people talking about this. In fact, in a full circle moment, one of the people who I did find that I resonated with her message was this gal, Mia. She is in California. Her handle is The Sober Glow. She has a beautiful account. And she really talked about being alcohol free as a choice for her wellness and her well-being. But she was maybe doing a few retreats at that time, but really wasn't offering direct mentorship. But the cool full circle thing is she's going to be on the show in a couple of weeks. She and her husband are going to come on and talk about their journeys. And I'm really excited to share that because in remembering some of these moments, she was one of the first people who kind of like was talking about it, being alcohol free in a way that resonated. But y'all, I just really wanted a mentor. I wanted someone to encourage me, to cheer for me, to help me over stumbling blocks, to show me that I could still be cool, vibrant, successful, and fun if I quit drinking, and that I didn't have to say that I was an addict to quit drinking. I wanted for that so badly, and I could not find it. And so I found that in any area of my life, finding a mentor to support me and investing in that, putting my money where my mouth is, has been so transformational. My biggest periods of growth and success and transformation in my life have been when I worked with a mentor. And, we have all of these mentors that we can have from afar that we can admire. But when you really get that one-on-one accountability with a mentor, I think it's something so special. And I wished so badly that I could have found that when I was starting out on my journey. I probably would have made the steps to be alcohol free so much earlier if I could have just found someone to say, hey, girl, you got this. It's okay. Let me show you the way. So number one was a mentor. Number two, in that same vein, was a community. I wanted so badly for peers in this space to say, hey, Amanda, we feel you, we see you, we've been there, and we are on a similar path. And again, there were tons of recovery communities. I can't tell you how many Facebook groups I joined hoping that they were the one, and all of them were the same. All of them were the same. And as hopeful as I was, every time I went into these different groups, I heard the same story. I heard struggles of, I almost drank last night. This is so hard. And I knew that being alcohol free wasn't going to be easy, but I also didn't feel inspired being in community with people who only talked about it as a downtrodden struggle. I wanted to believe that it could be full of possibility and that it could be full of hope and breakthrough moments. And I wasn't so much seeing that. And if I was, I had to dig through piles and piles of negative comments to get to those positive ones where people were like, oh my God, I'm celebrating because I just kicked so much ass being alcohol free. And these were not the discussions that were being had. So I wanted a positively focused, growth-minded community. And again, I was really struggling to find that. And I know that because of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, community is one of the foundational pieces of our growth and our well-being. And I really, really, really wanted a community so badly so that I remember there was this other influencer who was talking about sobriety. And I saw that she was in Austin. She doesn't use that account anymore. So I won't say her name. So you're not like looking for this wild account, but she was in Austin for a conference. And I messaged her. I'm like basically desperate to meet up just to have any sort of semblance of friendship and camaraderie. And I literally stalked this woman and ended up meeting with her, and actually someone who has become one of my friends, Sandra Primo. She used to have a podcast on sobriety as well with her podcast partner, Tammy Salas. And I basically just invited myself to dinner with them because I wanted to have this little bit of community. And I was able to reach out and touch base with a few other community members. But wow, I was just so yearning for that because I knew that the community that I was in terms of my friends, were being supportive, but they just didn't get it. And I wanted people who got it. All right. So first was a mentor. Second was a community. The third was, I said earlier on that I knew that I didn't necessarily need physical help. I didn't have these withdrawal symptoms that I needed help with a physical addiction. I had a mindset addiction. I was stuck on all of these mindsets that society had fed me. You deserve alcohol. You need alcohol. Alcohol helps you be sexy. Alcohol helps you to be flirtatious. Alcohol is something you use to celebrate. Alcohol is something you use to wind down. I had all of these very thick and very believable stories in my mind that every time I got a little bit of momentum with my alcohol-free journey, these nasty stories would creep back in. And the problem was I wasn't even well-versed at spotting them, let alone rewriting them. And I know that I would have moved so much further faster had someone been pointing these stories out to me and catching me in my own limiting beliefs. But this is one of my greatest successes, is that I developed a process for myself to get at those stories, to uncover them, and then to excavate them and rewrite them into something more hopeful and possible. Because with those stories running in the background of my mind, no matter how much momentum I got, there was always something creeping back in saying, oh, but Amanda, just this one time, or you can moderate now, or, it's a celebration. You could just have one. There were these little devilish stories creeping back in, and there wasn't anyone that I could find that was, making a laundry list and pointing them out and helping me rewrite them. So I sat down and created a process for myself to help me shift those mindset tools. Because here's the deal. You can willpower your way through anything, through any behavior change, but unless you change your mindset, unless you change your mind about the way you operate in the world, you are probably going to struggle to stay in that behavior change, because our thoughts affect our actions. Okay. And so if I'm always thinking about alcohol as something that I need, want, deserve, or desire, then at some point my actions were going to go along with that thought. So one of the things I really needed and that I found for myself and created for myself was a way to shift my mindset. And my journey would have been so much faster had someone given me those tools in the background, right? But didn't have them, so I made them for myself. The fourth resource that I wish that I could have found were tools and practices to navigate the areas where alcohol had stunted my growth. Here's how it works. If you use alcohol to combat all of those mindset stories I was telling myself that I needed it to relax, to be sexy, to have fun, to celebrate, then you do not learn the skills that you need to perform those actions on your own. Okay. And sooner rather than later, your confidence starts to dwindle and you start to believe that you are incapable, or that you will struggle tremendously in achieving those things: relaxation, celebration, sexiness, flirtation, whatever it is, on your own, because you have been cheating for so long. So really your self-confidence muscle starts to atrophy because you have not been actually practicing. It's like, you're just faking it. Basically, you're faking it through, or you're cheating your way through. So I always explain it, like if you've been swimming your entire life, but you've always been wearing a life vest, you think you know how to swim. You've been telling yourself you know how to swim, but when push comes to shove, if you take that life vest off and you get dropped in the middle of the ocean, shit, that's going to be scary, because you have been floating on the surface, observing, pretending to see into the water. Of course, you've been seeing into the water. You've been participating in those experiences, but you haven't really been swimming. So when presented with the opportunity to actually swim without your flotation device, in this case, that device being alcohol, it feels freaking scary and almost impossible. Okay. And so you freak out and you go back to the resource because you don't have the skill to do it on your own. You don't feel like you have the skill to go into a social event, to navigate a hard day at work, to navigate a stressful argument with a partner, to go on a first date with a stranger. And so often we turn back to this resource, this tool that we had that society told us would help us, but really it's not helping us. It's just helping us fake our way through, because if it were helping us, then we know how to do that thing automatically without the cheat code, without the tool. So what I needed was someone to come in and give me like a 101 in life management. Basically, I needed someone to come give me these life skills that perceivably I was an intelligent, capable, able, confident woman. But when I had to go out and do some of these things without alcohol, that I've been using it as my anesthetic and my social lubricant, holy moly, that was intimidating. And there were so many times I told myself, you can't do this. You can't do this. And I had to muscle through. And if I would have only had someone in the background teaching me how to navigate these situations, teaching me little tricks, wow, I would have been so much better off and had so fewer stories in the back of my mind. And, it's almost like have you ever had a friend like tell you a solution to something that you're just kind of like, oh, why didn't I think of that? Sometimes these solutions are so simple, but we can't see them for ourselves. I'll give you a completely non-related example. I was driving out to meet a friend recently, and my car was getting ready to need gas, but I was so intent on getting there, and I was pretty sure there was a gas station like right next to her house. So I went and my fuel light came on, no big deal because there was a gas station there, right? Oh no, except that it was an imaginary gas station that I made up and it didn't exist. So then I driven all the way to her house, which is kind of in a desolate location, and then had to get back to a gas station, probably running on fumes. And I have a newer, I just got a different vehicle. So I didn't know how long the fumes were going to last. And you can actually directly relate this to alcohol if I really wanted to pull this metaphor. But long story short, I told one of my best friends, whoa, that was scary. I was like sweating trying to get to the gas station, wondering if I was just going to die on the side of the road. And she said, well, Amanda, you know what I do is I actually, every Sunday, no matter what, even if my gas tank is 3/4 of the way full, I top it off. I fill it up every Sunday. That way I never get in that situation. And that had never occurred to me to systematically program in every Sunday, you stop for gasoline and fill up no matter what. I had always waited until you're like closer to empty to fill up. And I don't know if that was maybe I feel like I'm sure I had some story about why that was so. Like maybe you needed to like get rid of one gasoline so that you could, start with a fresh tank. I have no idea what story I made up. I'm a 37-year-old woman, y'all. Whatever it was not as smart as the simple solution of just top off your tank every Sunday so you never have to sweat and worry that you're going to run out of gas as an adult woman on the side of the road again, okay? And sometimes these simple solutions that are right in front of your eyes, you cannot see them because you are so blind to them. That was an obvious solution that someone else had to give me, and that is exactly what I needed for most of the situations, were these simple cut and dry solutions that had never occurred to me because I had always used alcohol to cheat. Okay. So I tell you all of this because all of these resources have become so much more available in the past 5 or 6 years. And I literally had to do without them or cobble them together myself. And I want you to know that if you want to truly, truly change your life, sure, you don't need any of these tools. You don't need to invest $1 or an ounce of time. That's not true. You do need to invest some time. You need to invest some energy, but you don't really have to invest $1. But what I see more often than not is women investing dollars here, there, and everywhere instead of just really doubling down on one thing that can actually support them and help them. So I see them trying to piece them together when, for example, I will spoon feed these to you. I have spent a handful of years studying, paying good money, accumulating and aggregating all of these resources, processes, and theories, and will hand them over to you in my programs. And I would love to have you as part of one of my programs. I'll tell you in a minute what options you have to work with me. But here's the deal. There are teachers in every different place. I think I teach in a really special way that no one else quite does. And so that's why most people who I work with are attracted specifically to me because of the spiritual tone that I take, because of the possibility focused tone that I have. But there are hundreds of other teachers out there right now. You have no shortage of people to help you. So what I want to tell you is, no matter what you do, you have no excuse to why you are staying stuck if you are stuck right now. If you are struggling, if you are in a place where you haven't quite stepped over the line from sober curious to actually taking a break from alcohol, or if you've taken little breaks but not managed to cement it in, or maybe if you're taking a longer break right now, you've been alcohol free for a little bit of time, but you still feel a little tender and wobbly when it comes to your mindset, or when it comes to navigating some of these situations alcohol free, or when it comes to actually taking the next step and using your sobriety as a springboard into your potential. If you don't quite yet feel like you are living your best life, then it would behoove you to invest in some of these resources. And I don't care if it's with me. I would love it if it's with me, if we're a good fit to work together, but I don't want you to slack off and just invest with me because I'm sharing an opportunity right now. I want you to look around and say, hey, where are the opportunities for me to invest in myself, in my growth, and find it? Y'all, I could connect you with 50 other teachers who do something in this vein of what I do, and you can find the person who resonates with you. And I want so badly for you to find that, because I can tell you after years and years of personal experience that I go further, faster when I put my money where my mouth is, I commit to a mentor, I commit to a process, and I commit to a way of doing things, and I just do it. A great example is when I was ready to write my book. Could I have Googled my way to success? Probably, but instead I invested in my mentor, in my teacher, and I went so far, so fast because I had someone holding my hand and observing me and cheering me and giving me a linear process and kind of putting me on a little bit of a time crunch. I wrote my book proposal and got my book deal in record time. And let me tell you what, if I would have tried to Google my way to that, I still would be sitting here today with no book, no proposal, no deal, nothing. And now I have a book coming out in October, and that is so amazing. It is more than most people who have that dream do. And it's because I had my dream and I decided to commit to it. So if you are in this place where you're feeling called to change your life, you know that alcohol is holding you back, you know you want to step into a bigger, brighter version of yourself, I would love to invite you into my new and improved program, Awaken Without Alcohol. It is a hybrid program, and I found that this is the best format for my teaching. And it actually provides all of the 4 resources that I shared with you today. It provides one-on-one mentorship with me. You get 4 calls with me as your mentor. And depending upon when you're listening to this program could change. So you get calls with me as your mentor. You also get access to a community of like-minded women. I put you in a live chat group where you can chat back and forth with those women and with me every single day if you choose to. You get exercises to help you shift your mindset into a new possibility, potential focused, positively focused way to look at alcohol and to look at yourself. I not only help you shift your beliefs about alcohol, I help you shift your beliefs in your own capabilities to show up to be the person who you were meant to be. And that's freaking powerful. And I give you tools to navigate the world alcohol free and actually to step into your dreams and desires. So we help you get clarity on what it is that you really want in your life, and help give you the tools and the oomph to go after it. And I think that this program is really, really powerful. It is the program that my most successful students have gone through in this exact format, this exact hybrid format where you're getting some on-demand learning, you're getting some time with me, and you're getting some time in a group. And because you are getting that one-on-one time with me, I want to let you know that space is limited in the program, but we're enrolling right now. So if you are thinking, yes, I am in the midst of a spiritual awakening, I'm in the midst of the sober, curious journey, I really do want someone to stand by my side and cheer for me. I really do want a community, and I really do want to change this forever. I don't want this to be a short-term little thing that I dabble in. I want this to be a long-term change. I would love to talk to you. I'll put the link down in the show notes to learn more about Awaken Without Alcohol and to apply. I do want to hop on the phone with you for about 30 minutes just to make sure that we're a good fit energetically and you're a good fit for the program, and I'm a good fit to work with you, since we are going to be working on one-on-one and in a group container. And I would just be so honored to support you and guide you if that is what is in the cards for us. But no matter what you do, I really just want to encourage you to get off the starting block, to get out of the Google your way to success and research your way to success, and just find someone to hold your hand and support you. This is an area that can so dramatically impact your life. And I am on a mission right now to wake as many women up as possible to their potential through this journey of elective sobriety. And I hope that I am encouraging you to do that every day, every episode, every piece of content and nugget of wisdom I drop. And I hope that I will be able to share that with you as part of this program. So if that's speaking to you, please reach out. Of course, there are other opportunities to work with me one-on-one. If that program isn't quite what is jiving with you, just reach out and I can share some other options with you. But I think that this is going to be the best fit for many of you and give you a lot of different ways in which to learn and hold yourself accountable. So thank you so much for being here. Do reach out if you are interested in that program or if this episode just spoke to you today. And I would love to hear from you. All right. Take care, friends. I'll talk to you soon.